Welcome to the podcast. I am your Dungeon Master, Nathan. With me this evening I have Nicole.
What's up?
Emily.
Hello.
And Justin.
Heyo.
We are a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast. Oh, man, it's been a while since we've been here, huh? I'm sure you saw the title. This is episode 0, y'all. This is season 2, episode 0. So we're going to be taking care of some housekeeping stuff here tonight, and also going over kind of the state of the world as it is. It's been a long time since we finished season 1. You know, we had a little bit of a side quest there for a while with different characters, so we're getting back into the shoes of the main crew, so to speak. I'm sure you also saw in the title that we have also changed our name. We are no longer the Village Idiots. We are now known as Legends of Lanimora. So let me be the first to say, welcome to the Legends of Lanimora podcast.
Yay! Love it.
Yeah. So speaking of changes, you might have also noticed that Jordan is not here with us tonight. One of the original cast members from season 1. He played Agamir, the half-orc rogue. And Jordan, my brother-in-law, Emily's brother-in-law by marriage.
Sure.
No relation to Justin nor Nicole. He's decided to take a step back. It was a running joke in season 1 that he did not have social media, and so he didn't want to be a part of the spotlight. And he's decided to keep his D&D behind closed doors like the rest of the nerds out there. And we're going to keep things on the internet for you all and just put ourselves out there for you, you know, like you like.
Hi.
Neat.
So we are going to miss Jordan.
So much.
And we wish him well. Again, he's a new father. He's, you know, a great guy, and we love him to pieces, and we wish him well. So that's the bad news with the situation. The good news, however, is Agamir will be sticking around, and we'll be getting to that a little later on. Yeah, I'll be touching on that a little bit when we're getting into more story stuff towards the end of this episode, I guess.
You didn't tell us any of that. You kept that a secret from us. I love it.
I have not told you all a lot of things.
Secrets.
I'm sure.
I have a lot of secrets.
I have a lot of secrets. There's only one other person that I've talked to about anything regarding DMing, and that is the DM of our sister podcast, City and Snow.
Can we say sibling podcast because sister is gendered? I feel like since the podcast is made up of both non-binary and female characters and like cast members, maybe sibling podcast would be better. That's what I'm calling Izzy from now on, instead of calling Izzy my sister, because she goes like, you know, she wants to be referred to as they, them. I'm saying sibling instead of sister in respect out of, you know, for what they want.
Sibling podcast has a nice ring to it, too.
I kind of like sibling podcast.
Well, I mean, that's a good segue into my next point. So why did we change our name? So we took a long, hard look at the name The Village Idiots, and we had a lot of a soul searching that we did with regards to the language that kind of
connotation, if you will.
Yeah, the connotation that put forward to, you know, the community, and we felt that that language could be ableist, and we decided that because we want to be inclusive and welcoming to our listeners and our fans, that we wanted to distance ourselves from that name. So we've decided to do so. We're now Legends of Lanimora as a result, and we're going to be putting a disclaimer at the beginning of our older episodes to let people know about that. We're no longer going to be naming a village idiot at the end of the episode. I will be instead naming a legend. So
Love it.
whoever had the most cinematic or badass moment in the episode, they will be named legend. And then we're sold on calling them this, the lol?
Yeah.
Is that-
I like
That's what
it.
we've decided? Yes?
I think,
lol.
yeah,
The lol.
I like the LOL, I guess, because, acronym. But, are we naming, like, either a legend or a LOL, or are we doing one of each? Like, that sounds kind of like a lot.
My theory was that it's one of each, so that at the end of the season, we crown a legend and we also crown a lol.
I
That
love
was
that.
the joke.
I love that.
The lol
Yeah.
and the legend.
You can
Yeah.
be both in one episode. I like.
Oh my god, can you imagine if the lol and the legend end up being the same person too? That would be dope.
It would
That's
be.
basically Scar. So I feel like she's gonna do well this season.
Mm.
Hopefully.
we're-
Probably
yeah, we're-
not.
So at the end of every episode, I'll be naming a legend, and I'll also be naming the lol. The lol is the person who has an unfortunate goof or other unfortunate moment in the episode.
It can also be like a funny moment, though. Like, I argue that it's not a bad thing to be either one of these things.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of good. It means we're role playing correctly.
Yeah. So we want to just make that sweet, sweet content for you glorious listener. And if this is the driver that we need to give you that sweet content, by God, that's what we're going to do. So,
Speaking of, do we also want to talk about our other mechanic that we're keeping?
Hero points.
Hero points.
yeah,
How was
hero
that?
points. Hero points are sticking around. I was talking about changes, but hero points are staying. So we've homebrewed that hero point system, and that is going to be sticking around. I will talk about that more at length the first time that we get into hero points. So another thing that is going to be changing is that we're going to be recording video for all of our sessions. That's right, listener. You can see my face right now if you're on youtube.com.
Be nice to me.
Be nice to my wife.
I hate the internet.
Be nice to all of us.
I wish I had a
But
green
mostly me.
I wish I had a green screen behind me so I could put like whatever background I wanted, because I feel like I always have to clean off my dresser now so you don't see the like massive pile of clothing that's usually going to be on the floor now, instead of the dresser where everyone can see it.
You know, I literally have a green screen, right?
From the bed.
I know, we talked about this. You need to get that green screen from your parents' house so you can set it up behind me.
Okay.
Nice. So yeah, if you want to check out our video and see the various facial expressions and gestures that we perform, hop on over to YouTube and check that out there. Or if you're on YouTube right now, welcome.
Hi, YouTube.
Welcome to our home. Homes.
Yeah. So that brings me to our next point. We've always on the YouTube channel. It's what is our YouTube channel name?
It is Novi_Studios.
Yes, Novi_Studios, which is the name of our larger studio that we've always been a part of. We are also rebranding the studio name. So check them out on Twitter at
Novi_Studio.
Thank you. At Novi_Studio. And learn more about news, upcoming content, some of which is D&D, some of it's not D&D. So if you are into D&D, but also other things, check out Novi_Studio on Twitter.
We also have a website.
Well, anyway, we do have a website. It's Novi Studio Yo.
Love that.
I love that joke.
It's,
What he means to say is novistudio.io. So it sounds like Novi Studio Yo.
Novi Studio Yo. Yeah, check it out. That is going to be the where we're going to be putting up all of our Legends of Lanimora information from here on out. Correct?
Correct.
And all the other content will be there as well.
And all of the new sweet content.
So much content, guys.
Our listeners. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I'm super stoked. Speaking of exciting content coming up, I'm done with housekeeping, so everyone please roll for initiative.
Had the dice app up and ready.
Don't forget to add your real life dexterity modifier.
0.
But
-5.
okay, so mine used to be hella high. It's not so high anymore. So, like, can I use my, like, when I was a gymnast dexterity? Because I was an expert at that shit.
Yes, please do.
12.
10.
Well, I got a 2, so.
Want to use any of them hero points?
That's okay. I'll keep my 2. I have absolutely 0 dexterity now as a human being. I lost it all. You don't use it, you lose it.
Sweet. So Emily got a 12. So Emily will be first, and then it was Justin, and then Nicole. So a little background of the world of Lanimora. So Lanimora, for those of you jumping in here at Season 2 is your first episode, Lanimora is a world that is comprised mostly of 2 continents. There is Alari, which is the city continent in the southern half of the world, and there is Tor, which is a larger continent, mostly wilderness in the northern portion of the world. So in this world, specifically, our story takes place on Alari right now, but it's broken up into 12 boroughs who are governed by 12 consuls called the Chamber of 12. In Season 1, our heroes were given a quest by one of the consuls in the Chamber of 12, and they were sent on a quest to find a what's the word for it?
Like a spy in it, like, or
one of their lieutenants, a golden mantle, was basically thought to be plotting against them. There we go. And so this consul sent them on this quest, which ended with, they thought, the consul perishing, and at the hand of said lieutenant. And so they were on the run for a while, and it turns out that the consul had actually orchestrated a big con to get their lieutenant into power. And
it's a massive conspiracy.
It was a massive conspiracy. And this is, they're trying to bring about something that they have called the Unending Horde, which our heroes do not know a whole lot about.
Doesn't sound great.
Doesn't sound great. No, it does not.
Nah, don't want none of that.
They fled one of the boroughs of of Alari, called the Archives, for a safe haven called the Bulwark Isles off the coast of Alari. They fled with the help of a gigantic sentient statue, a shield colossi named Amo Ferric. They basically broke into the Archives to save them and left a path of destruction in its wake. So Season 2 is going to start 6 months after their rescue from the Archives. And the boroughs are kind of on lockdown now because no one knows what this massive thing is that wreaked destruction on the Archives. At least most of the populace doesn't know what it is. And it looks like there are some competing factions forming within the boroughs themselves. So some boroughs are siding one way, saying that they need to completely lock down and find and hunt this thing. And the other sides are saying, it's fine. This has happened before. What's the worst that could happen?
This is sounding oddly familiar.
Well, listen, I started writing this campaign pre-COVID, and now 9 months later into COVID, there are going to be some themes that might seem a little familiar to you.
Boy.
So anyway, that is the state of the world right now. Let me introduce first for you Drusilla, the Eladrin, played by my wife, Emily.
Can we have a season 2 moratorium on my wife?
Please, because I can't with Borat. I just can't.
All right, that's the only one.
Okay, that's one. We got one, and we did it.
I've got to do it at least once. I'm pretty sure I did it in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, Emily, tell us a little more about Drew and what she's been up to.
So, Drew, I...
She's got her encyclopedia.
Hold on. Okay, so I'm not kidding. I basically started Drew from the ground up today, and it took me, not joking, it took me close to 4 hours. And I'm not done the whole, like, with everything that I want to do. Like, she's done. I want to organize it a little better because Drusilla is a level 6 cleric and a level 4 warlock. And what that means is that I have 2 spell sheets, neither of which make much sense. And I have to know how to cast these. So the reason Drew is part warlock, part cleric is because she started out as a Grave Domain cleric, and then we ended up finding something.
It was the amulet in the Tomb of Idrindon that...
Yep, amulet. There's an amulet.
I was like, Safina, give it to her, because I kept calling out to you, and I wanted to know what it would do.
Yes. So there was an amulet that Drew was drawn to, and so she ended up taking it. Doing so, she met the shepherd, who is basically like a Grim Reaper figure, and he ended up giving her powers in exchange that for her service, and obviously, hell yeah. So she did that, and now she has a mark on her hand, but she can raise the dead, so, it's win-win.
It's a pretty cool tat.
It's a pretty cool tat. So what happened with her is that she is slowly, as she's been on the Bulwark Isles it's 6 months, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And before we go too much into it, I should say that raising the dead doesn't seem that special, but in Lanimora, undead don't exist. At least not until Drew raised one a few months ago.
Yes. So necromancy has long been thought to it doesn't exist. Basically, you can't raise the dead. And then the last season, Drew did, because she has been researching it, and with the help from the warlock, her warlock side is she's able to raise the dead, which is special and new and very exciting for her.
And was her dream? You lived your dream.
It's her dream. And she's not done. She wants more. So basically, where we had left off on the Bulwark Isles in season 1 was we had met one of the leaders of the lizard folk in one of the communities we went to, and found out that she was actually being possessed and controlled by Kelvin. A white-haired figure. I guess we don't know it's Kelvin, but
we know.
Anyway, so they were being controlled by this thing. So basically, Drew has decided to stay on the Bulwark Isles for this time and try to suss out what that's about. Because when they originally landed there, it was weird that there were lizard folk here that that were living like this, hadn't been contacted, hadn't been interacted with, or that they were fighting in these factions like this. Was a little weird. So Drew has spent this past 6 months among these people, she started out as a C-3PO queen, but now as her golden skin has faded, she's an Eldrin, so she gets to switch seasons. So during the 6 months, she has changed from bright gold. She went through autumn, which is like her deep mauve color, and then now she is in winter, where her skin is like a deep blue. She still has her white hair, but she definitely is in winter. She's sad. But she's excited about a lot of different stuff, but it's very much like this is a weird time.
This is giving me Inside Out vibes, and I love it.
the last time she also heard any information about her mom, who was on the mission with some of the people that we have finally spoken to again since the last season, or in the last season. She just still doesn't know where she is. So that's most of her worry and anxiety, which is part of why she is blue now. But she still gets to do her face step. It just does a new thing. She has spent this time bonding. She's learned Draconic. And she has collected a magical item that will be named later because I haven't decided. If you have an idea for a cool magic item, go on Twitter and let me know about it because I will take it, and then I will make sure your name is used as an NPC in the podcast because I'm sleeping with the DM. Anyway, so Drew has been learning Draconic and basically bonding with the lizard folk and finding out kind of what's been going on. While Kelvin has had a foothold here in the Bulwark Isles, so we're working to loosen that because I don't want his feet anywhere near these people.
It also helps that these lizard folk consider you to be a godlike figure because you can raise the dead and you have those magical powers.
Because I can raise the dead. I did do that in front of them, and I'm pretty sure anyone would think that I was a godlike figure in Lanimora. I'm about to make a lot of people think that I have a lot of godlike powers.
Yes. I should also note the name Kelvin has been floated around a bit. Kelvin Boulderdown is the golden mantle of fellows that quote unquote betrayed the consul.
Didn't he become the interim consul?
Yeah, he has become the interim consul of fellows. Actually, I can tell you now, he's the consul of fellows now. No longer interim.
I hate him so much.
Yeah, he's really moving on up in the world.
Sucks. But yeah, so she gained 2 levels in Warlock, 1 in Cleric. Slightly better at healing people, a little bit better at Necromancy. That's about right.
I see where your priorities lie.
A little bit.
Excellent. So that's what Drew has been up to. We'll get into more of what Drew has been doing. We'll explore that story with the lizard folk and raising the dead.
Oh, wait.
Emily, yes?
I forgot. I had to take a pact. Sorry, there's so much dumb shit I have to do. I had to take a pact, and I chose the Pact of the Blade, which means that I can do a lot of weird shit with a weapon. So I have a special weapon that I now have. It is a small dagger that Nathan called a... Say the word. Chris. Yes. And it basically...
K-R-I-S.
Yes. So I can make it...
Spells his name.
I can make it appear and disappear at will and things like that. So it's pretty neat. But that's the pact that I chose for my Warlock thing.
Quick question there. Oh, darling wife of mine. Did you look up that picture like I told you to?
Nope.
Of what a Chris looks like?
Nope. I trust you.
Okay.
Well, now I want to know what it looks like.
Please describe in great detail for Emily what it looks like. Paint her a word picture.
You ever seen Once Upon a Time?
Like
the TV show?
I'm going to have to say no.
Okay, so basically, it's like there's a bunch of different images that I'm looking at, but basically the blade, it starts out fine, and then it goes kind of curvy. Like
cool.
It's like there's like waves in it. I'm going to...
Oh, dope. Yeah.
Wait. It's too bright. There you go.
I mean, I can see it though. Yeah.
That I meant it's too bright for you too. So yeah, that's kind of like the best image of what I looked up, and it does remind me of what Justin was referring to was the knife that controlled Rumpelstiltskin in the TV show Once Upon a Time, which we both loved.
Got it. But yeah, she's got one of those. That's her pack,
and it like
that she
appears
chose.
And reappear. Like you can make it just disappear.
Yeah, there's a few things you can do with it. Pact of the Blade. One of the things you can do is if you can have it like disappear at will and appear at will, and if it's away from me for more than a minute, it disappears.
That's
so. Cool. If someone tries to take it, it'll just disappear and then reappear back at me.
Oh my god, it's like your very own Mjolnir. Like only you can have it.
Yeah, basically.
You're Thor.
But that's it. I swear to God, that's it.
Okay.
Excellent. So that's going to bring us to Saf, the halfling artificer, played by Justin. Justin, you want to go into who Saf is and what she's been up to?
So Saf is, I don't know how much time has passed since season 1, episode 1, but is around like 20 years old, halfling, gunsmith, artificer.
She'd be 21 by now.
Okay. She is basically on the long-term quest of finding her grandfather, Milo Thornburn, who went missing 10 years before the events of season 1. So she ran away from home to go and find him. Speaking of Thor, let's transition to Iron Saf. So she has been working on some stuff since those 6 months, and one of which is called the EXO. TM. EXO. It stands for External Xenomechanical Outfit. Basically, it's like a lightweight backpack that she presses a button and she can turn herself into Iron Saf. The extent of which...
like, honestly, when you mentioned it, all I pictured in my head was that episode of Rick and Morty when Snowball takes over the world and like was in like the dog was in an exoskeletal legs and shit like that. And then I think about Darth Maul in Clone Wars and with his exoskeleton legs. Like that's just what I picture Saf doing.
Yeah, it's very
gross in size with these.
Well, the extent of the EXO is TBD at the moment. Nate and I are kind of going over what can and should and not happen. But aside from that...
Yeah, we're hashing out those details.
Yeah. She has also been working on her memoir entitled From Lanimora with Love. It details their group adventures as well as the main quest of her finding her grandfather Milo, Saf's relationship status, which... I guess we'll get into it in a little bit. And she has been working with Karen Danae, the lore keeper that has joined them in their quest to take on Kelvin. She's been working with Karen Danae and training a small group of lizard folk to help her with her book. So she's made a chapter for botanical illustrations for native bulwark flora and fauna called Beauty, Botany, Bulwark. And a chapter for technical illustrations for ancient Bulwark Island ruins, and a chapter on how to easily learn Draconic, called Draconic Made Easy. 1, 2, 3, roar.
Excellent.
I have a question. The last time like your whole grandfather mission thing, it's kind of important to note that you actually saw him in person right before all hell broke loose in the archives. So you do know that he's alive and that he is being held captive by Kelvin / what's the console foes guys?
Tasmik Duvet. But we also don't know the nature of their working relationship, so.
but also like he specifically pointed you out, saying that you and the family, like your bloodline was like super important for some reason. There was a whole lot of spooky, weird, shady stuff going on with that whole thing. And
That was
Karen
mentioned.
was on the expedition that Milo was on as well.
Yeah, Karen
And there's someone else.
some of the other people one of the other people that we're with at the moment were on that expedition that
Yeah,
my
I
grandfather
wanna
was
talk
on
about them
10 years
later.
ago.
So you know a lot more information now than you did in season 1, where you literally knew nothing.
All I had was a letter from him and
Have you
nothing
seen
else.
my grandfather?
Are
Yep.
you my grandfather? Are you
Are you
my
my-
grandfather?
Yeah, my mummy.
Excellent. Well, that's exciting. I am looking forward to seeing how all of that plays out. Especially figuring out what I'm going to let that EXO do.
I came up with like a 5-page document, and he's like, "That's too much. That's going to be like a whole subclass." So
If we can still
roll
go
it
that route
back.
if you want. We can make it a instead of a artificer gunsmith subclass, we can make it an artificer exo subclass if you want. The world is your oyster. I'm the
Well,
DM. I'm lenient. Yes, and
So it's just a point is that I'm kind of doing this in lieu of the artificer's mechanical servant thing. So hopefully he'll allow me to make it a little bit cooler than just a little item.
well, I'm saying you can still have the mechanical servant and the exo.
I feel like when it comes to Stefina, Justin just, like, in his head, the word extra is just always there.
It is.
Like, so extra.
Well, hey, we're called Legends of Lanimora for a reason, right?
Yeah. So extra. And I love it.
Speaking of legends, let's talk about Scar,
Oh, I'm a legend, all right.
the tiefling, former Copper Mantle fighter. Nicole, you want to tell us a little bit about Scar and what she's been up to?
Yeah, so as you said, Scar, I'm not me, was a copper mantle at the start of the podcast. And through a series of, all the events that happened, I pretty much turned my back on them even before we became fugitives, just because of all the shit I let slide. Like, as a cop, I should have immediately arrested Drew, like episode 1. Should have happened, just because that's what my job was. But I let her murder someone.
Yeah, your
My
character would
partner's
not be
on
alive
TV.
today. So
But I definitely let myself get away with it because I specifically chose the ideal that people that follow orders blindly are, like, that's a form of tyranny. So, like, while I was a copper mantle and I did follow orders, I kind of like to pick and choose which orders I follow. It's like up to my discretion. What's the phrase, Justin, you love to use so much? It's
from a certain point of view.
the Obi-Wan. Yeah, from a certain point of view. I don't know why I'm having trouble thinking of things. Anyway, so Scar is a badass. She's a big dumb jock. Always will be. So basically, during the 6 months, Scar has been, training more, combat training with her weapons. Also learned Draconic because I felt like that was important since we were on the Bulwark Isles and none of us spoke Draconic and we lost our interpreter. So I think it's kind of cute that we all took Draconic classes together.
You learned it from my easy chapter. 1, 2, 3, roar.
Yeah. I just have a picture in my head of, like, me, you, and Drew, me, Saf, and Drew wearing, like, headphones, like, in, like, a classroom, where it speaks like a phrase in the language and then you have to repeat it. Like that's just like we Duolingo Draconic or something.
Je suis la jeune fille.
Oh my god, those like Muzzy videos,
Those Muzzy
commercials from like a billion years ago when we were kids.
Sorry, I'll stop
That's
interrupting.
so weird. Okay, so that's fine. So we're all level 10 now. So I'm a level 10 fighter, which means that I gained the indomitable trait, which means that I can re-roll a throw that I fail, but I have to take a second roll. And I can only do that once every long rest. I was also able to pick up a couple feats. And one of those feats is called Infernal Constitution. So as a tiefling with my infernal roots, I now have a resistance to cold and poison damage and advantage on poison saves. So I don't know why I thought that'd come in handy, but I feel like it did, or it would.
Curses, my dinner party where everyone gets poisoned is ruined.
I also chose the feat. I can't remember what it's called now.
Did you not write it down?
It's fine. I didn't write it down. It's in the Slack chat. Like the picture I sent. There's general.
Here I am juggling
So
like
much.
7 Google Docs, and you're like, I didn't write my feet down.
Skill expert.
Oh, skill expert. Yeah. So basically what that does is it gives me, I can improve one ability score or an ability modifier by 1 or an ability score by whatever words. I can choose a new skill to become proficient in. So because I have full plate dragon hide armor, because of course I do, I had disadvantage to stealth, so I chose to become proficient in stealth, so it kind of cancels it out a little bit. So that's like where my thinking was going. So it just helps me on I'll still have disadvantage, but with the proficiency bonus added, it helps me make stealth rolls.
Like 2 of the 6 months you just spent being in your full plate armor trying to sneak up on people.
Basically, just practicing that a lot, like being sneaky in my full plate armor. I got really sweaty.
You got a little better at it, but yeah, you know.
Just a little bit.
It is a tropical environment.
I was also in that feat able to double my proficiency on something that I was already proficient in. So I chose athletics. So now I have a plus 12 to athletics because that's a strength modifier and that's my normal modifier. I picked up a new weapon that I found on the Bulwark Isles while I was exploring and just hanging out with the gang. I found a Warhammer, guys. I got a Warhammer back. It's not my original Warhammer that fucking Kevin stole. But I saw this Warhammer and it had to belong to me. So I have a Warhammer again. It is a very special Warhammer. It has 2 charges in it, like magical charges, I guess. And if I expend a charge, I add +5 to attack rolls. And it also already has a +10 to attack rolls because of the
Oh my god.
type. Yeah, because of the type of weapon and because of my modifiers and my proficiency in all weapons. It's a hell of a Warhammer. And I'm super excited about having a Warhammer again.
Whack. Whack, 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 whack.
Star
That's
smash.
what I do. I smash. I scar smash. I saw that hammer and I had to have it. So yeah, Also, oh wait, this is very important. So Scar became best friends with one of the members of the crew with Mara. If you remember, we met up with Mara Fordyce, who Reg is employed by, and we found out that Zuff and Giro aren't, well, Giro at least, wasn't actually Giro. It was Kira, last of the Dardendrians. She's a Dragonborn. She was a part of the same mission that Drew's mom and Saf's grandfather was on in Tor. And she had lost her memories, but they were restored. And we bonded. Because we're like the same person. I also played that character in our prequel campaign. You should go watch that. It's on our Patreon. Watch that. You should go listen to that. It's on our Patreon. And so, yeah. So the two big dumb jock fighters are now best friends. And yeah, she's my sparring partner pretty much. That's how I got better at combat. That's me, Scarlet.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's almost all of the original party. But we do have to talk about what Agamir's been up to. So Agamir has been doing pretty well for himself. As you all recall, he was looking to get a boat. That was his primary goal. He got a boat. Because he took a job in the Violet Rose.
Ooh.
He works as one of Mara's lieutenants now.
Oh, snap.
She saw what he could do, and you all vouched for him, and she was impressed by what she heard and saw, and he has been a valuable asset to the Violet Rose, running shipments back. He's got his sea legs again.
Oh my god, he's Han Solo. I love it.
He's running shipments, doing smuggling and all that type of stuff. He had a little bit of trepidation with joining a crime syndicate. As you know, Agamir, he's
neighborhood rogue.
Yeah, he's your friendly neighborhood rogue. So he was pleased to find that when you all were spending a little more time with the Violet Rose, as far as crime syndicates go, they're more on the Robin Hood side of the spectrum, where
I love that.
They rob from the elites and they give to the masses. And so that is how the barony has operated. As far as crime syndicates go, they are not high up on the evil list, because you all have learned as well, about halfway through, let's say about 4 months into your stay at the Bulwark Isles, a few other characters showed up. Namely, first it was Pax, the bounty hunter. And then a little while later came Tora the Druid and Marquess Maxine Monroe.
That's right.
The Bard Rogue.
Brogue.
The Brogue.
The Brogue, yes.
Get it?
They all came and started telling you about this order called the Order of Alteration, who is an hella evil underground organization you found that is trying to manipulate world events for their gain. And they were the ones in charge of the Shade Pocket that you all in Season 1 took a part of. So, what Agamir's been doing as well is working with, when he's not working with the Violet Rose, he has actually been working with Pax, Tora, and Maxine on some of the missions that they are going on. So, one thing that we're going to be doing in Season 2 as well is we're actually going to be utilizing these characters. For those of you who did not listen to Season 1.5, which released a few months ago, it's a 15-episode arc. Well, technically 16 episodes. We split episode 15 into 2 parts. Those three characters were played. Pax was played by Justin, Marquess Maxine Monroe was played by Emily, and Tora was played by Nicole. And so we did a little bit of exploration of those characters and another subplot there. So they are actually going to be continuing what they're doing in the background. And they're going to be deferring to basically your party for what to do. So you all.
So this is becoming more like a chessboard. We've got pieces now that we can move.
Yes, you've got pieces. You have resources at your disposal, and
we have a lot more allies than when we started out.
For sure. So you all. So you'll be able to use those three characters as resources, and also you'll be able to use Agamir as well. One thing that Jordan said is when I talked to him about what he wanted Agamir's story to be is that he, didn't want Agamir to just sail off into the sunset and never be a part of anything again. He thought that you all had been through a good amount, and he thought that Agamir would continue to stick around. So we're going to use Agamir as a resource.
God, I love Jordan so much.
Oh,
Won't cry. Shut up.
So I'm, really excited to get into all of this. You all are on the Bulwark Isles with the Knights of Halartha, who are now the main organization that is going up against the Unending Horde. So Tasvig and Kelvin's cronies, basically. So you all are with the leader of the Knights of Halartha. It's Dorena Ravenridge. She is one of Dr. Milo's contemporaries and also a professor at the university in Intepa, where they got the name for the Knights of Halartha, the Halartha University of Ultimate Knowledge. And Karen Dene is there with you as well. He was also part of that original expedition on tour 11 years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the state of things as we get into season 2. Things are starting to lock down. There are a lot of tensions in Alari right now. There's been skirmishes and close to battles happening between, the boroughs in some places. But we'll definitely get to zoom in a little closer and see exactly what's going on. Oh, I should also mention, Amotheric is sleeping again.
You mean like he's back at where we found him?
He's back where you found him, in the chamber inside that dormant volcano. So you have not been able to make contact with him for some time. But he did give you the prophecy. You know the prophecy of the incarnate. And I guess I'm going to look through my notes real quick and see if I can find that. And I think that's a good place to...
Yes, please, because I don't have it written down.
All I know is that something of it had to do with each of the Amos was like, one was wood, one was fire, one was air, one was heart, water, Either
with these powers combined.
Either Captain Planet or Avatar The Last Airbender had something to do, some kind of elemental things, and he was the Amo of the prophecies, and I don't remember if I lost one or both twins that I had following me around. I know I was able to shrink them and put them in my pocket, but during that last battle to get out of the archives, I'm pretty sure I lost one of them.
Man,
at
that's
least
one thing that I forgot about is I don't remember that guy's name. He's one of my favorite NPCs that I made, and I can't remember his dang name. He gave you the Smallifier.
Oh, the weird dude from that where we found
Bruno.
I was like, Bruno doesn't sound right. Brunick. That's right. Brunick.
He was weird. Brunick. That's where we ran into Crazy Tillerth, and he's hanging out with us now.
He the best.
Crazy Tillerth is with you as well.
Wish us.
Yay.
Wish us forever in our hearts.
The singing fish merchant.
Cooking us fish every night.
I should also mention that Reg the Goblin, Zuth, and Kira, formerly known as Giro, are also with you.
Kira might be a theft.
So, the prophecy, as Amoferic told you, the guardian of the prophecy told you that the prophecy was, the wicked one, wreathed in white, shall unveil the incarnate from shadow, when the fields of sacrifice bathe the Everflame, burning proud atop its altar with the blood of the dreamer.
That's right. And we keep thinking Saf is the dreamer.
So yeah, that is the prophecy. That is the state of things. Amoferic is now asleep again, and I think that's good enough place as any to end. I mean, that's kind of a good broad overview of where you are. I'll definitely give a more detailed description of what is happening at season 1, or on episode 1, after I listen to the rest of season 1.
I mean, I'll say, like, the whole reason of us doing this session 0 is just so we can, if you want to hear more about what we took and, like, go into all the details about leveling our characters up and, like, more information about why we are doing what we're doing, like, obviously this is the episode for you. But if you are looking to just get right into season 2, we'll give, like, an overview of all of this in season 2 as well. Episode 1.
Yes, for sure. Season 2, episode 1. We're really doing it, y'all.
This was your pamphlet, basically. And then we'll, episode 1 is like the start of it. Do y'all have a pamphlet? That was the name of one of our episodes. I remember
yes.
that.
Was. Yes.
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Yeah, so
where's my...
Basically, just, us telling you what we've been up to. And, bringing in our season 1.5, the in-between characters, and introducing some of the prequel characters and talking about them, and just a whole lot of fun stuff that I think season 2 is going to be the best season ever.
Well, I hope not.
I love it.
I hope it'll be the best season yet, but I hope it's not the best season ever. I have other plans.
Oh, God. I
That's
hate
all
when
I'll
you have
say.
plans. Plans on plans on plans.
Plans on plans on plans. You guys have no idea. We'll get there. So anyway, we've got to do our thing at the end of the episode. It's changed, so this is our first go at it. Be gentle. So Nicole, if anyone wants to reach out to us on social media, they can do that, right?
Absolutely. We have a Twitter. It's at Lanimora Pod. You can go there and talk with us. And if you want to talk to us personally, you can find me at Nicole the Nerdy.
You can find me at JMH_Novi.
I'm at Neurotic Good.
You can find me at _Squid Toaster.
We also have a website, like we mentioned before, novistudio.io. We have a ton of cool stuff up there, like an about section where you can get to know us, our seasonal champions. There are fun facts about the world, tons of art, and a link to our Patreon.
Speaking of Patreon, this part mostly stays the same. Want to hear more from Novi Studios and our other content? Well, you're in luck because we have a Patreon. For just a couple bucks a month, you'll have exclusive access to some DM insights and behind the screens. Listen to Nicole and I BS and What's What with Dilly and Dally, and even a mini prequel campaign set in the world of Lanimora.
If a subscription to our Patreon is too much of a commitment for you, we'd love if you could leave us a quick review on iTunes. If you enjoy the show, tell your friends about us. New episodes come out every other Tuesday, so stay tuned.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in to the episode 0 of season 2. I'm super excited for everything that's coming up, both with Legends of Lanimora and with the other contents that is going to be coming out of Novi Studios. So make sure to follow both so that you are up to date on all this sweet, sweet new stuff. Thanks for listening. Bye.
God, 2 seasons, we still can't fucking change it, y'all.
Bye.
This is the one thing we're not rebranding. Bye.